Hi, my name is Deborah, and I used to be a knit snob. Up until about 5 months ago, I absolutely despised crochet. I had just taken up knitting 2 years earlier, and I found it the superior craft by far because knit has quite a softer fabric and much nicer drape, in my opinion. It was so bad that when my sister offered to crochet me things, I would heartlessly tell her, "No thanks, I hate crochet." Everything changed around 5 months ago when I went through my knit works in progress and I found some yarn that was very unpleasant to knit with, and I just thought to myself, maybe I should try crocheting it. Maybe that will be less unpleasant. I considered making a granny square top instead of the tank top that I was knitting. And while looking at patterns, I discovered Daisy and Dime, who is a Canadian crochet pattern maker, and I found her pattern, the Sophie top. I bought the pattern and I started it right away. I got to about, you start at one side, and I got to about here and I had to take the whole thing apart again. And then I got all the way around and had to take the whole thing apart. And then I did it again and it still was, even remaking it so many times, it was so much faster than knit. I don't hate the drape of it. I followed Daisy and Dime's tip that if you use a crochet hook that's bigger than the yarn specifies, then you get a much drapier material. And this is pretty drapey for crochet. I was hooked. After this, I relegated my yarn that had been saved for knit patterns for crochet patterns instead, because I was just absolutely enamored with how quickly this could go to get a wearable object that was close enough to knit. I became so enamored, in fact, that I forgot about my limitations, and I overdid it. I'm making this video while my wrist recovers so that I can continue to dream about crochet without further injuring my wrist. A quick overview of what I've made so far since I restarted crocheting. I've already talked about these in Everything I Made videos, so I'll just go over them pretty quickly. I made this case for my external hard drive. It worked up incredibly fast, and the versatility of crochet, I didn't need to follow a pattern for this. I could just be like, yeah, that'll fit, and then just like wing it, and it turned out. Like, I can't do that with knit. This is so nice. Then you've already seen the Sophie top, and I feel like I've talked about it enough, so we'll move on. I also made some coasters for my living room, and they're functional and adorable. And I made the Vala vest for my little sister for her birthday, and that worked up really nice, and it was really pleasant to make. It was so fast, and the yarn I used was so soft, and it looks so good at the end. Now we will move on to my works in progress. I am currently working on crocheting up quite a lot of logs for my living room. I want all of my bolster cushions to be logs because I just think that is adorable and whimsical, and why not add more whimsy into your life? I have a whole lot of yarn that was gifted to me from my coworker. This is my bag of white yarn, but I also have a bit of brown in here to make some oak logs as well. And this bag has more brown yarn plus what I used to make the end pieces. You use 2 different colors of yarn to make it look like the end, like the rings of a tree, which is pretty cute. So that's in this bag, as well as to make it look like a log at the end, you do surface crochet on it. So I have the yarns that I use for surface crochet in here as well. And again, I've already talked about this project in another video, so I won't go into too much detail, but it is a free pattern by Yarnspirations, I believe. My other work in progress, which has been pushed aside since June, is I'm making a hexie cardigan following Daisy and Dime's Homeward Bound cardigan pattern. I'll link it below. I've already done all of the hexagon bits, and I've added to the sleeve to make it the length I want, and I've done the cuff, which you do with slip stitches, and it's very stretchy and nice. Now I just need to add more to the back because it's not quite long enough to go across my back yet. I have both halves up to the same point. I've done the front on one of the halves, but not the other. I added some ribbing to the front of the sweater as well. So now I just need to add a bit more to the center back here, about that much to make it fit my back. And then I will add the ribbing to this side as well and add a bit of length to the sweater, and for the bottom, I'm not going to do ribbing, I'm going to do picot stitches, and it's going to be absolutely adorable. I'm not going to do any buttons on this, it's just going to hang open. I'm using a yarn that I got from the thrift store. It was a ginormous bag for $10. This is all the yarn that I have left. So hopefully I have enough to do everything I want to do on this sweater. Otherwise it might be more cropped than I anticipated. That's my works in progress for now. Here are the things that I'm dreaming about making that make me want to finish these so that I can start the next project. I got this sweater from the thrift store when I went on a thrift store trip with my sisters. It was $5. It's pretty big and it's a beautiful blue. This is like a light sky blue, but it's such a rich color. This sweater is made out of acrylic, nylon, wool, and mohair. And because there's mohair in it, it has a bit of a halo. I don't know if you can see that. My plan for this is to take it apart and make the Eternal Seasons cardigan. I don't even know who it's by, but I'll link it below. I have been seeing this on my Instagram feed, the Eternal Seasons cardigan, for quite a while now, and I love how it looks. I think it looks better with fluffy yarn, so that's what I'm going to use this for. I also want to make a Vala vest for me, just like the one I made my sister, but one for me. Maybe adding little cap sleeves on it so that it's a t-shirt. This is the yarn that I used for hers, and it's 100% cotton. This was an Anthropology top that I got from the thrift store. It was a very weird shape. I don't know why anyone would wear that. But it is such a soft yarn and it's really pleasant to work with. The only alteration I would make to the pattern is make it so that it doesn't have puff stitches when it has puff stitches. I'm going to look for an alternative to the puff stitch that still gives that puffiness without having to go in and out of the fabric so many times, because that's really hard on my wrist. I also bought Daisy and Dime's pattern, the Jasper sweater. I bought it as soon as it came out because it's called Jasper and my nephew's called Jasper, but also because it's a Henley. And I really like how Henleys look and I think they're really nice for layering in the winter. You may remember from my knitting podcast, I knit this sweater out of yarn I got from the thrift store. I tried to alter the pattern, but I did it so horribly because I don't understand how to alter knit patterns. So I'm going to re-knit this, but instead of knitting it, I'm going to crochet it into the Jasper sweater. And this is another really fluffy yarn that's just, I think, really pleasant to look at it. It reminds me of the moon, this yarn. So that's another project I want to start. These projects are going to take me years because I have to take so many breaks when I'm crocheting. I have this yarn that I unraveled from a sweater from the thrift store, and I'm going to use this to make the foxglove wrap sweater from Daisy and Dime. That's a pretty holey sweater similar to the Eternal Seasons cardigan. I have this brownish, grayish yarn I got from the thrift store, and this is what I'm going to use to crochet that. Other bits I want to do are, I still have quite a bit of this white cotton that initially started my crochet craze. It's the same stuff I used for the Sophie top and my coasters. And out of the rest of this, because I have a few balls left, I want to make some bandanas that are very lacy so that when I'm having a bad hair day, I can just throw a bandana on it and feel better about myself. So that's what I'm going to use this for. I don't have a yarn picked out for this, a pattern that it's by Crochet with Alana, I think is the brand, and it's like a bee top. She calls it something else, but I call it the bee top because it has hexagons on it, which look like honeycombs. So I want to make that top too, but do something different with the sleeves so that it fits closer. Maybe I'll use the sleeves from the wrap sweater by Daisy and Dime on the body of the bee top by Crochet with Alana. That is everything I wanted to talk about for my crochet dream. I'm so excited about all my projects. I'm excited to get these done, and you will see the progress along the way. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.